Tensions run high on the peninsula. Delegates from the two Koreas held marathon talks over the past 3 days, but there's little sign that either side will back down. South Korean military reserves vow to defend the country over social media alongside a flood of encouragement for soldiers currently serving in the military. And with the Chuseok Thanksgiving holiday a month away, Korean domestic beef prices are on an upward track. The burden on consumers is a growing concern. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Monday, August 24th. I'm Luke Clary. As tensions run high on the peninsula, delegates from the two Koreas have held marathon talks over the past 3 days. The two sides seem deadlocked with little sign that either delegation is willing to back down.
The key agenda for the high-ranking inter-Korean meeting is relieving the military tensions sparked by North Korea's provocation. In order to resolve this issue, Seoul insists that Pyongyang admit and apologize for its provocation and promise to prevent similar recurrences. Pyongyang, on the other hand, is demanding that South Korea first stop loudspeaker propaganda broadcasts across the border. In order for the talks to proceed, the two sides must come to some kind of compromise over these two matters. But the North reportedly evaded giving a definite answer to the South's demand for apology by saying that the past should be put behind and they should head toward the future. In addition to the military matters, a variety of other inter-Korean issues are known to be up for discussion. Experts presume such key agendas as holding reunions of separated families around the next Chuseok holiday, removing South Korea's sanctions against the North, and resuming the Mount Kumgang tourism project. But at the end, it all depends on how accepting North Korea is of South Korea's demand for apology.
The recent inter-Korean military standoff was spurred by a North Korean landmine provocation on August 4th, which gravely injured 2 South Korean soldiers. Now, let's take a look back on the developments over the past 20 days, leading to this weekend's high-stakes discussions.
7:40 a.m., August 4th. 2 non-commissioned officers of the South Korean Army's 1st Division were gravely injured by North Korean landmine provocations in Paju, Gyeonggi Province at the western front of the DMZ.
우리 군은 수차례 경고한 대로 북한이 자신들의 도발에 응당하는 혹독한 대가를 치르게 할 것이다.
6 days later, vowing stern retaliation, the South Korean military resumed its anti-North Korea loudspeaker broadcasts for the first time in 11 years. North Korea responded by threatening to strike indiscriminately should the South fail to remove the loudspeakers. On August 20th, North Korea twice fired artillery at South Korea near Yeoncheon County in Gyeonggi Province. The South Korean military fired back 29 shells of self-propelled artillery in response. Inter-Korean tension reached a peak as Pyongyang declared a quasi-war state and issued a 48-hour ultimatum, while Seoul also pledged strong retaliatory action.
우리 국민의 안위를 최우선적으로 지켜내고 이번에야말로 북한 도발의 악순환 고리를 끊어내겠습니다.
High-level inter-Korean talks were announced just 2 hours before the expiration of the ultimatum. Marathon negotiations have been underway, but obstacles remain before the crisis can be fully resolved.
Since North Korea's recent artillery provocation, you'll find South Korean military reserves vowing to re-enlist and defend the country through Facebook and other social networking services. We're also seeing a flood of encouraging messages for soldiers currently serving in the military.
This is the Facebook page of the South Korean Ministry of National Defense. A string of more than 1,700 comments were attached to the posting about North Korea's recent artillery provocation. Most of the comments include pictures of carefully folded military uniforms or selfies of soldiers dressed in their uniforms. There are also plenty of photos of combat boots and dog tags. Many of the commenters claim that they're waiting for their orders, are not afraid of North Korea's provocations, and are ready to fight at any time. Although families of soldiers can't help worrying about their loved ones currently serving in the military, they send heartfelt messages of encouragement to the young people defending their country. In fact, some soldiers facing discharge in a few days opted to delay their release from the military. They didn't feel right leaving the unit when military tension between the two Koreas is mounting and wanted to fulfill their duty to the last. An increasing number of young people are pledging to defend their country against the North Korean provocations rather than dodging military service or departing for foreign countries.
With the Chuseok Thanksgiving holiday a month away, Korean domestic beef prices are on an upward track. The rise is a result of the government's policy to reduce the number of cattle, but the burden on consumers is a concern.
Grown-up cows fill a cattle shed. In previous years, they would have already been shipped, but the situation is different this year. With cow prices surging every day, livestock farmers are biding their time calculating the timing to sell their cattle. With a shortage of calves, some farmers have decided to keep and raise their cows rather than sell them.
송아지를 살 수가 없으니까 저희 같은 경우에도 뭐 많은 규모는 아니지만 한 60마리 이상 기르고 있는데 그 중에 30마리를 송아지 생산하고 있습니다.
The sale price of a cow weighing 600 kilograms is about $4,800, up 32% from a year ago. The average price of domestic beef has jumped to approximately $15.7 per kilogram, a 28% increase from the same period last year. The increased prices are a result of the government's decision to reduce the number of cattle, a policy devised in response to a plunge in domestic beef prices in 2011. The Chuseok holiday next month will likely be a critical juncture for the upward trend of domestic beef prices. Concerns have been raised that the skyrocketing cost of domestic beef could discourage consumption.
Many Koreans are under the impression that Korean automobiles manufactured overseas adhere to higher safety standards than those produced locally. To dispel the distrust, Hyundai Motor carried out a crash test for both its domestic and overseas models. Here's the result.
Two Hyundai Sonata passenger cars of the same model face each other at a distance of about 100 meters apart. The red Sonata was manufactured in Hyundai's Alabama plant in the U.S. and the blue one domestically in the Asan plant in South Chungcheong province. The two cars speed up to 56 kilometers per hour and then collide head-on. Debris flies all over the place, and the fronts of the two cars are crushed beyond repair. However, the side frames that protect the passenger cabin remained intact in both vehicles. The front doors opened properly, and the airbags were deployed normally. Even the degree of protection for the test dummies was rated at the highest level of excellent. The frontal impact test showed no noticeable difference in safety between the Korean and US-made cars. But it remains to be seen whether this test will calm the controversy surrounding the poor performance of locally manufactured vehicles. Therefore, Korean car makers should transparently disclose information such as why parts and sales prices differ between domestic and overseas models.
If your children often leer to one side, squint often, or complain that their eyes are tired, they could be suffering from strabismus. In fact, most strabismus patients are children. Only early treatment can minimize or prevent the damage to their eyesight. Here's the story.
This 9-year-old child recently received surgery to address her strabismus. Hers was a case in which her left eye tilted outward. After frequently hearing that her gaze was abnormal since last year, her parents took her to a hospital where she was diagnosed with strabismus.
눈동자가 자꾸 딴 데로 흩어지기 때문에 집중이 오래 할 수 없다고 그러더라고요. 공부 시간이 늘어나면 힘들 것 같아서.
Strabismus is divided into 4 types: divergent strabismus with one eye tilting outward, convergent strabismus with the eyes pointing inward, and hypertropia and hypotropia in which the eyes point up and down. Among them, divergent strabismus is the most common condition. The National Health Insurance Service confirmed 134,000 cases of strabismus last year. Among them, children aged 9 or under accounted for the largest portion at 58%. Teenagers accounted for 27%. If strabismus symptoms are neglected during childhood, patients can suffer visual impairment such as amblyopia or a weakened ability to see objects in 3 dimensions.
A special documentary about Japan's wartime sex slavery program produced by KBS TV to mark the 70th anniversary of Korea's independence aired on the Chinese state broadcaster CCTV.
China's state broadcasting system, CCTV, aired KBS TV's special documentary entitled The Girls Who Disappeared on Burma Front, which was produced to mark the 70th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. CCTV purchased the program from KBS and then translated and dubbed it into Chinese. The 45-minute program went on air on Saturday at 9:30 p.m. It's quite unprecedented for shows produced by foreign broadcasters to air on the CCTV news channel, which specializes in news. The Girls Who Disappeared on Burma Front tells the stories of Korean women who were forced into sexual slavery by Japanese soldiers. KBS collected materials for the program by visiting Thailand, Myanmar, and China's Yunnan province. CCTV apparently decided to air the program about comfort women in a bid to promote anti-Japanese sentiment ahead of Victory Day celebrations on September 3rd.
An unusual film festival has opened in Seoul. It features big screen sound effects, lines from movie scripts, and music shown on stage in real time. Take a look.
내 마음의 태양. 어렸을 때 헤어진 어머니를 생각하며 나도.
Actors' voices harmonize with a gentle piano melody. Special effects like the sound of footsteps are all produced right on the spot. This live dubbing show reproduced on stage the sounds of the 1958 movie Love with an Alien, the audio recording for which has since been lost. When a scene in which the movie's main character sings a song starts playing in the dark performance hall, the audience begins to sing along. Children are the most excited. In no time, the stage is filled with little Elsas.
언니 오빠들이 가까이 와서 노래해줘서 영화 속 배우가 된 것 같았어.
This unusual film festival showcases on stage the sounds of movies normally experienced only through the screen and speakers. Movies are reborn as live performances. The Chungmuro International Film Festival, which had been shut down since 2010, has been given new life with the theme of movies and musicals brought together.
People tend to lose their appetite and get lethargic during the hot summer, but some Koreans look to perk up and find the energy to endure the stifling heat with spicy food. Here are some dishes that will make you burn up from the inside. This small eatery in Seoul sells food spicy enough to make customers woozy. Their signature dish is none other than Japanese ramen.
0단계부터 15단계까지 매운맛이 있는데요. 단계에 따라서 티스푼으로 1단계에 1스푼씩, 15단계는 15스푼이 들어갑니다.
The most popular levels of spiciness are 4 through 7, and customers who foolishly order higher stages soon regret their recklessness. There's a reason why customers tolerate the sweat running down their faces for these spicy noodles.
되게 스트레스가 많이 쌓여 있었는데 그게 싹 쓸려서 내려오는 것 같아요. 최고예요.
Here's another restaurant that specializes in spicy dishes. This is a spicy spare rib stew, the ultimate in spiciness. You see vats of spicy chili pepper powder lined up as you enter the kitchen. The sheer amount and varieties of the eye-watering powder are overwhelming.
빨간색을 내는 태양초 고춧가루, 그다음에 매운맛을 내는 땡초가루, 그리고 시골에서 갖고 온 맛있는 매운맛을 내는 청양고춧가루 세 가지를 사용하고 있어요.
It seems anything with heat, from chili powder to chili paste mixture to pepper-steeped water, goes into the mix.
엄청 매워. 그 맛에 오는 거지.
Ice cream is what you seek out when you want something cold and sweet.
네, 저희 매운 초콜릿 소르베 하나랑 딸기 레드와인 4,000원 후추하나 이렇게 하나씩.
It looks no different from ordinary ice cream, but one lick will tell you that looks can be deceiving because the numbing heat soon follows the cool sweetness.
난다. 이게 시원하면서도 달콤한 맛도 있고, 근데 또 매운맛이 끝에 이렇게 오묘하게 남는 게 맛이 진짜 좋은 것 같아요.
This spicy chocolate ice cream is made by mixing sweet dark chocolate and powderized Mexican hot peppers called chili ancho. Stay cool this summer by blowing away the heat and stress with these super spicy dishes. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.